What's up, everyone? Justin Graver here, back again with another breakdown for the Music City Audible channel. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button below. And if you're a follower of the channel, you listen to our podcast that I do with Justin Mello, you would know I've been on the road for a few weeks, and that's why I haven't had time to do a breakdown in quite a while. So I want to catch up here today by breaking down some Will Levis game film from his first two starts. So we're going to look at plays from the Atlanta Falcons game and the Pittsburgh Steelers game together in this video. Let's get started. All right, the first play we're going to look at here was actually an incompletion, but it was maybe Levis's best throw since he's taken over as the starter. It's early in the first quarter here. We got a 1st and 10 play action look. Levis is going to go deep to Treylon Burks and drop it right in the bucket between two defenders. Unfortunately, the defender makes a really nice play on the ball here. Treylon Burks, in my opinion, doesn't do quite enough to go up and make a play for his quarterback, but we're going to look at it anyway because there's a few things I like about this play. So you can see Levis drop it down the sideline right in the bucket. Defender makes a diving play to break it up. So let's look at a couple things on this play here, because one thing that's really nice is Levis's ability to adjust on the fly. So it's going to be play action fake here. We got DeAndre Hopkins running sort of a deep dig route. At least I think that's what the plan was here. You'll see in a second what I'm talking about. And Treylon Burks has a deep post all the way across the field. Now, if you watch this play, Levis is clearly looking for DeAndre Hopkins. Hopkins has this matchup one-on-one up here at the top of the screen, and clearly Levis likes what he sees there. But right there, DeAndre Hopkins stumbles in his route and sort of falls down. He doesn't really have a chance, Levis, to get the ball to Hopkins here, because, bang, Hopkins is falling over and stumbling as he comes out of his break. And not only that, but he's got two defenders bracketing him here, so there's not really any place for this ball to go. Meanwhile, Treylon Burks on the other side of the field has a step. He has leverage as he heads towards this sideline. This defender is going to try to come over the top. This defender on his back hip. Again, that's where he has the leverage. And Levis decides, under pressure here, as we can see, he's getting hit as he throws this ball, to try to let this go and fit it into a tiny pocket here. And I think in Levis's mind, this is one of those either my guy gets it or nobody gets it type of plays. But again, it's just impressive to me that Levis can make that adjustment on the fly. Clearly wanted to get that matchup to DeAndre Hopkins, who falls down on the route. And take a look at how he navigates the pressure here. So Levis takes a snap, play action fake, and right here, wanting to get the ball to Hopkins. He's got a pretty nice pocket. You can see this guy's about to get through, but he's got time if he wanted to make that throw to Hopkins. If it was there, if Hopkins hadn't fallen down, he's got him. Now this is really only a two-man route. You got a late release check down option with Chigakonkwo coming out of the backfield. Levis could have probably dumped it off to him and picked up some solid yardage, but I love the aggressiveness here. That's going to be a theme throughout this video, is Levis's aggression. So right here, he decides at the last second he's going to come off the Hopkins read and try to get it to Burks. Under heavy pressure, hit as he throws, and it doesn't matter as far as accuracy is concerned. This ball is in the perfect spot. And the defender just happens to jump in and make a play on it there. Great play by 27, the defender there. When I said earlier that Treylon Burks doesn't do enough, look, Treylon Burks has shown in his rookie year that he had the ability to stop here, jump, and high point the football and make a contested catch down the field. Now, I think Burks probably figured he had this cornerback on his hip. He didn't need to make that contested catch. Doesn't necessarily sense the safety coming over the top. I think that's why he tried to catch this over the shoulder, because if he does catch that over the shoulder and he can keep running, it's possibly a touchdown. But right here, if Burks had gone up and high-pointed the ball, he could have had a better chance at catching this. Again, probably didn't sense the safety. It's not, you can't fault him too much for that, but you would like to see him go up and make that play. All in all, though, great job by Will Levis, navigating pressure, making something out of nothing in the middle of the play when his receiver falls down, and then just the flick of the wrist at the last possible second, switches his target, flick of the wrist, hit as he's thrown, and still delivers a perfectly on-target ball. And from this angle, we can really see Levis's eyes. Again, he's looking at Burks. He doesn't have it because the safety's over the top. So right there, he's looking for Burks, but that safety's over the top. So he comes off him, looking for Hopkins underneath. He's not there. The last second, he's like, all right, I'll go back to Burks and see if I can fit this in there. And he almost does. All right, next play. And this is a big one because it's 3rd and 1. So you need that first down conversion here. And what I love about this play is, you know, we've all seen Levis's arm talent, the strength, the ability to fit the ball in tight windows. None of that was required on this play. But what is required here is touch. And there was a lot made during training camp about Levis's, ability to throw fastballs, but can he throw the changeup here? And on this play, with pressure coming right in his face, Levis shows that ability to loft this ball out there, which is a more difficult throw than you might think. You got to loft it and give your guy a chance to run underneath the ball. Still has to be an accurate throw, but you can't bullet it right at him, so your mechanics change a little bit. Lofts this right over the top of the defender, hits Henry on the run, picks up the first down. Again, there's not a whole lot that's like super impressive about this play, but for a young guy who had some issues in terms of being able to change up the way he threw passes and to be able to layer throws like this with pressure coming right in his face as soon as he turns around, doesn't even have a chance to read the field. He just knows that with that pressure there, he's got to get the ball to his outlet. So he lofts it right over the top and put the ball in the hands of your best player, pick up a first down. Nice job by Will Levis. Not going to spend too much time on this play. Just wanted to point out one thing he did well here that maybe he wasn't expected to do as well, at least not this early on. Okay, now let's take a look at the DeAndre Hopkins touchdown. The first of three, I should say. There were 3 DeAndre Hopkins touchdowns, but this first one comes off play action. Hopkins just has a deep go route. It's a 2-man route. So Treylon Burks is running that deep crosser. You got a late leak out from Tajay Spears out of the backfield. So Hopkins, just a straight go route. Burks got the deep crosser, and Spears is going to come out of the backfield at the last second here as sort of like a check down, late release option. But what's crazy about this play to me is based on the way Hopkins runs this route, based on the design of this play, this is where you're trying to go with the ball, right? You're trying to pull this safety back. This corner is going to be back with your receiver and try to open this hole here to hit Burks on the deep crosser. So Hopkins not really the target on this play. He's clearing out defenders. He's a decoy essentially. But Levis doesn't care. And this is one of the things that's going to make Will Levis great. If Will Levis is going to be great, it's because of his ability and his aggressiveness down the field to attack one-on-one matchups and give his guy a chance to catch the ball. Now, something I love about this play, it's been critiqued a little bit for being underthrown or being off target. I don't think that's the case. I don't consider this an underthrown pass. I don't consider this an off-target pass. I consider this actually excellent ball placement because what Levis does here is he gives Hopkins a chance to run underneath the ball. Now, if you're trying to throw this to hit your man in stride, where's this ball going to land based on Hopkins' route? If you're trying to hit him in stride, you got to put the ball almost right at the corner of the end zone, at the front pylon. I mean, that is a tiny margin for error, trying to throw it from the opposite hash, 45-yard line. That's a 55-yard throw just in terms of vertical distance, never mind the horizontal distance. That would be an insane pass to even try to attempt. What Levis does instead here, if I clear this out of the way, what Levis does instead here is this defender has inside leverage on the play, but his back is to the inside of the field, which means that with Hopkins looking back towards the ball, Hopkins is going to have a way better chance of running underneath this ball than the defender will. Because again, the defender's back is to the quarterback. He's not looking for the ball. Even if he did look back up for the ball, he'd be looking for that ball to land in this area. So by throwing the ball into this part of the field, as opposed to this tiny little square out here, you give your guy a much better chance to catch this ball. I also don't think this was offensive pass interference. There's a lot been made about offensive pass interference on this play. A.J. Terrell is grabbing DeAndre Hopkins just as much as Hopkins is clearing him off. I wouldn't consider this OPI. I think that's 2 guys hand fighting down the field, a little bit of incidental contact both ways, or maybe intentional contact both ways, but it doesn't affect the defender's ability to make a play on the ball just as much as Terrell doesn't affect Hopkins' ability to go make a play on the ball. So I don't see OPI on this play, and I don't see an underthrown ball. I see excellent ball placement considering the leverage that your receiver has with the defender's back to the field of play. Give him a chance to run underneath the ball and get in the end zone as opposed to trying to fit this in right here. And we saw this a couple other times where Levis threw the ball too close to the sideline. Both times were to Treylon Burks, and Burks was unable to get his feet down and get the ball down in bounds because the ball was a little bit too far to the sideline. Because your margin for error throwing to the sideline is tiny. You have to be pinpoint. Putting the ball out here in the field of play, allowing your guy to run underneath it, I think is the way to make this kind of play happen when you don't have a safety to worry about, because this safety is all the way down here. This is the guy that should be back here, but he bit down on the crossing route. So again, a good read by Levis. I mentioned before, the crossing route is what you're hoping to have come open on a play like this when you call it. That's the design. Of course, if you can hit it down the field, you should, and Levis's aggressiveness creates a touchdown on this play when his guy wasn't even really open. But give DeAndre Hopkins a chance to go make a play on a one-on-one ball, and you're going to win more often than you're not. So I'll let this play out. Hopkins runs under the ball. Terrell looking for a flag. Bad acting job. You're not going to get that call, AJ. Sorry. One more time from this side. Levis sets his feet. The pump fake. We should talk about the pump fake a little bit. So Hopkins catches the touchdown, because there's a lot been made about that too. This was a game, we didn't see it as much in the Steelers game, but in this Falcons game, Levis was doing this little hitch pump thing before he threw the ball. I think it's a rhythm thing. Get yourself in rhythm to load up and throw this pass. See how he does that with his feet? Keeps his feet in rhythm here as he pumps, hitches, and throws. But it also does do a little bit to the safety, because as I mentioned, you got two safeties here, and neither one of them drops back, because again, this is a pretty common play across, a lot of offenses in the NFL, the Yankee concept, the deep crosser, and the go route. So these guys have seen this play before, and they know that ideally you're trying to get this ball to the deep crosser because you're hoping to have a big window of space here. Well, when Levis does his little pump fake motion, you get both safeties crashing down on the crossing route, which is what opened this up in the first place. Now, I don't know if these guys were ever going to gain the depth required to defend this play. It doesn't look like that's what they're doing with or without the pump fake. It looks like they are coming down on the crosser. At least that's how I read it. So I don't know if it was actually necessary for Levis to do the little pump fake, but I don't mind it. Why not try to sell this crossing route to these safeties and really get them to bite? And as soon as you do that, you have the open, it's not open, but you have the one-on-one down the field that you want. So great play by Levis for his first career touchdown. DeAndre Hopkins' first touchdown in a Titans uniform, or should I say an Oilers uniform, because of course the Titans were in their throwbacks for this game. But really a great play, and just showing off the aggressiveness and the arm strength of this kid, Will Levis, to create explosive plays. All right, next play we're going to look at is DeAndre Hopkins' second touchdown. This is one I want to look at because it's the quick recognition by Will Levis on where to go with this ball. Obviously, DeAndre Hopkins makes a great play after the catch. Will Levis doesn't create this touchdown, and in fact, he doesn't even deliver a very accurate pass. So you'll see here, when Levis gives this ball to Hopkins, that is behind him, pretty significantly behind him. In fact, it's a wonder that Hopkins was able to turn this into the kind of yak play that he did, because Levis isn't even leading his guy into space. Now, it's an accurate enough ball, especially when you're throwing to an all-pro receiver like DeAndre Hopkins. Doesn't have to be perfect. Not every pass has to be perfect, especially if you're going to create as many explosive plays as Levis has. But I think this is one critique that you can have from Will Levis from his first two starts is, his accuracy, especially in the short to intermediate areas, hasn't always been pinpoint. There have been a few plays that have been pinpoint, and we're going to look at some of those later on in this breakdown. But what's so great about this play is that Will Levis has basically one read, sort of, when it comes to where to go with this ball, and the routes here are a mess. This is a mess of a play. Hang on, let's go back to the wide. I honestly don't understand what the Titans are doing with this route combination. So as you'll see here, you got three guys pretty much in the same spot, and I get it, you're trying to break down zone coverage here by forcing these defenders into conflict, but each one of these receivers has a defender right next to them, plus you got two over-the-top defenders. Burks is also locked up on this side of the field. You're locked up on this side of the field. Really, nobody's that open on this play. So the route concept of running this little underneath crosser, this little over-the-top crosser, and then this little whatever this is, you basically have three guys within 6 to 7 yards of each other running sort of the same route. So I'm not sure why this route combination exists or if somebody did something wrong, but Levis makes the most of it. And what I want to point out here is the way he reads the safety, because you got Hopkins running that underneath crosser to space. So Hopkins off screen to your right here. You can't see him. We're going to run that little underneath crosser to space. Got the other receiver running a deeper route, and Chig's going to run a little kind of sit thing on this side of the field. Now, this safety has the responsibility to come down and cover the middle of the field, and he's either going to cover the back crosser or the front crosser, and Levis has got to throw it to whichever one he doesn't cover. This is the guy that's in conflict most on this play, 27. So as we see this play out, watch the timing of this. As soon as that safety's hips are flipped back and he's going this direction instead of this direction, Will Levis knows that DeAndre Hopkins is going to be the target on this play. So I play it out a little more. See that? Safety break back. Safety breaks back. Levis sees it, turns to find his underneath crosser, and hits him. Again, not the most accurate pass. And in fact, the inaccuracy of the pass may have affected the defender's route because the defender is running towards the ball and ends up being completely out of position to make a play on Hopkins. This defender, 27, when Hopkins catches the ball, should be right here making the tackle. But he was kind of coming down towards where the path of the ball was going as opposed to worrying about the man. Perhaps the inaccuracy was a blessing in disguise and allowed Hopkins this lane to run after the catch. But regardless, great job recognizing what that safety was doing, seeing the coverage, and going to the man that needed to get the ball based on how the defense reacts. So again, one more time, watch 27 down here. As soon as he backs up, as soon as he starts going backwards, disappears from the screen, bang, you give it to Hopkins underneath, who makes a great move at the goal line to get into the end zone. That's your all-pro receiver, DeAndre Hopkins. Okay, the next play we're going to look at is one that is a negative. This is one of the biggest areas that Will Levis needs to work on, I think, after 2 games, is being too aggressive. And this is a careful balance you want to strike because you don't want to neuter his aggressiveness. Like I said at the top of this video, his aggressiveness is the thing that's going to make him special, the ability to create explosive plays. But you also need to understand the game situation as a quarterback. So this one is 3rd and 7 with 44 seconds to go in the first half. Now you have a 14-3 lead. Go for the touchdown. Go for the kill shot. Why not? I mean, if it's there and you have it open, then you should go for it. But on this particular play, it's not open. So we talked a lot about this safety number 27 and the plays he's made or not made in this game. He makes the right play on this one. So the Titans have a lot of guys running similar routes here. You got Hopkins on a little crosser here, out route here, and Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, I think it is. Yeah, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine on a go route here. So again, it's 3rd and 7, right? So line to gain is about 28-yard line, essentially where you're trying to get with this ball. And you got 3 guys who are running routes at or just beyond the sticks. And then you have 1 guy running a go route. Now, if this safety crashes on one of these crossers and stays down, and you get a true one-on-one on the outside, then yes, take that matchup and go for it. But if this safety starts backing up and gaining depth and bracketing this go route, you got to take one of the guys underneath. And you have a few options on those guys to get to. So Levis, right here, option number 1. Chig has space. He's making his break outside, and he has outside leverage. Throw that ball right here. Chig's going to catch it, run out of bounds, and you got a fresh set of downs at the 21-yard line with 38 seconds to go in the half and a chance, at the 31-yard line, not 21, with a fresh set of downs there and a chance to go get some points, dink and dunk a couple more times, you get a few more shots to the end zone, you'll have more chances at getting points than if you take this. You're not even in field goal range here where the ball is, right? You're on the 43-yard line here. That's not field goal range. You need at least 5 to 7 yards just to get in field goal range, and 7 yards give you the first down. So option 1, Chig is open here, doesn't throw it to him. If I advance this a little bit, you'll see Kyle Phillips breaking open. I think it's Kyle Phillips, whoever this guy is. Kyle Phillips, I believe, also breaking open across the middle of the field. Now this one, if you complete it, he's probably not getting out of bounds, so you got to run up and spike the ball, maybe use a timeout. And then finally, if I advance it just a little bit more, you also got DeAndre Hopkins breaking open here. Pretty good coverage by the defensive back, but Hopkins has a step and he's got leverage and he's running to open space. This guy's not going to be a factor because he's running with his man. The one guy you don't really have is Nick Westbrook-Ikhine with a defender on his hip pocket and a safety coming over the top. And that's the one guy Levis throws to. Now, again, you have to be careful trying to neuter this aggressiveness because you want Will Levis to take those shots. You just want him to take them when they're actually there, when the guy is open or has single coverage. And given the game context, given the situation here with Kyle Phillips breaking wide open here across the middle of the field. Now, Levis has already thrown the ball. He's under pressure. I get it. He also had Chig on the first read I mentioned earlier that was open sooner, that he could have got that pass off before this pressure got there. But it's a minor ticky-tack thing. It's not a huge error. You leave 3 points on the board because it's 3rd and 7 before halftime. You'd like to see him take the check down. But that's one area I think Will Levis needs to work on is, taking the layups when they're there and taking the deep shots when you have a better look. All right, we're going to look, speaking of deep shots, let's look at DeAndre Hopkins' 3rd touchdown in this game. Now, Hopkins has a little stutter and go. Again, we're going to talk about this safety 27. Hopkins' little stutter and go here. Just first time we watch this, just watch DeAndre Hopkins. I'm going to be quiet. Just watch Hopkins. Oh my God, he totally burns 27 and Levis lays out a perfect ball. I mean, mostly perfect ball. Maybe you could argue it's a smidge underthrown, but a mostly perfect ball, a very catchable ball. So it's basically that simple. That's the first read on this play. You're watching this safety. Does he bite on the little stutter before Hopkins goes? And you'll see the Levis hitch or pump fake again with the shoulder. Two-handed pump fake. You like keeping both hands on the ball for ball security purposes, especially when you're pump faking in the pocket. If you're on the run on the outside and you like pump fake to get a guy to move, you don't got to keep both hands on the ball in that situation. But in the pocket, you always want to keep 2 hands on the football. So it's a really simple read here. I'm not going to spend too much time on this play because it's just You watch Levis. There's the pump, bang. It's subtle, but that little shoulder movement freezes 27 and also the route by Hopkins right there. 27 downhill. Right here, his momentum's carrying him downhill. Hopkins' momentum carrying him this way. This guy's got no chance. Doesn't matter how old Hopkins is. Doesn't matter how many steps he may or may not have lost by this point in his career. When this guy's got a step this way and Hopkins is running this way, that's a touchdown. And Levis sees it almost immediately. Pump fake there and lets it fly. Beautiful ball for Hopkins to run underneath. You don't want to risk overthrowing him there, so you got to put enough air under that ball for Hopkins to run under it. And Hopkins holds up the 3 fingers for his 3rd touchdown of the day. We'll see it one more time from the end zone view. Levis, pump and throw. I also like here how Levis is looking off the other safety. I mean, it doesn't really do much on this play, but you always like to do that when you're going to take a deep shot and you know you got deep safeties. Levis looking this way before he comes back to his primary read, which is Hopkins on this play. So one more time, here it is. There's the little pump and the throw. Great play, another huge explosive for the Titans. Okay, last play we're going to look at here is the 4th touchdown pass to Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. Play action, rollout. Levis throws it back all the way across the field from the 45-yard line, opposite hash, and puts it in the bucket for Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, who gets up and does the Billy White Shoes Johnson touchdown dance in honor of the Oilers throwbacks. You know, he was just waiting to catch a touchdown all day so he could do that dance. Let's take a look at how impressive this play is by Will Levis. So let's take a look at the routes here, because typically you got a quarterback bootlegging out to the right. A lot of the times your routes are going to go to the right and follow the path of the quarterback. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is going to fake like he's doing that. There's a little slant outside here, a little lean, and then cuts it back across the field. It's designed to go to Westbrook-Ikhine on this play. It's not designed to go to anyone else. And you only call a play like this if you have a quarterback who can make a throw like this from the 45-yard line. He actually ends up back at the 45-yard line, opposite hash, all the way to the to midway through the end zone. But if you watch Hopkins, you watch Treylon Burks in this play, they're not open. They're not open at all. So Levis bootlegging out to his right. Look at that. Hopkins doesn't have any step of separation here. You got a linebacker in the passing lane. Burks is sort of open, but this cornerback is breaking outside. But look at this safety here. He's facing the wrong direction. That's because Nick Westbrook-Ikhine's, feint outside here got him turned completely around. As soon as he's turned completely around, Westbrook's going to have the momentum and the leverage to beat him to the spot out here. Levis, on the other hand, has to wait for this play to develop. So you're in max protect. Well, not max protect, but you got 2 extra blockers in. You got a tight end on the right, and you got Derrick Henry in the backfield. Both of these guys are making extra blocks. Now here, like I said, this play takes a while to develop. It's not even close to being to the point where Levis can throw this ball. Now here, he could throw it. He waits an extra hitch before he does make that throw. I think he just wanted to be clear on what he was seeing down the field. But the fact that he makes this throw off his back foot while getting hit from, again, the 45-yard line opposite hash. Let's see it from the end zone angle so we can really appreciate this. Levis rolls all the way back to the 45, backing up, waiting for the play to develop. This is one of those things that like Patrick Mahomes does or really did. He doesn't do it as much anymore, where he just keeps backing up to buy himself more time because he knows he has the arm strength to be able to throw that ball so far down the field. Levis is sort of doing that here. Waiting for this route to develop. You can see Westbrook-Ikhine right here. Waiting for him to make his break. Back up, backing up, away from pressure, and knows that he's going to take a monster hit here. But in the face of that rush, he knows he can get this ball there because he has the arm strength, lets it fly off his back foot, takes the hit, brought down to the ground, and the ball is perfect. And when I say perfect, there's some people that have argued that this ball should have been thrown maybe to like here, based on where Westbrook's momentum was taking him. I don't mind taking it a step further up the field and putting it in the end zone in case he has to make a diving catch. If he's going to make a diving catch, make him dive in the end zone, not short of the end zone. He's got enough separation from this defender here that, yes, he would have a better chance. I mean, he has more leverage running horizontally than he does if you take this up the field. If you flatten this out, you'll have better leverage than you would on a more vertical shot here. But Levis leads him to this spot, and really, you're just trying to put the ball anywhere in here. Anywhere that the receiver can run underneath it and catch it. You're throwing to a spot. You're not throwing to a man. And in this case, the spot was about the O of the Oilers logo in the end zone. And that's pretty much where Levis puts it, just outside it, really. And Westbrook-Ikhine can run underneath it and make that catch. One more time, just so we can appreciate the beautiful magnificence of this throw all the way across the field. Arm strength, explosive playmaking ability. That's what Will Levis is bringing. All right, we're on to the Steelers game. I mentioned Will Levis not always showing pinpoint accuracy in those short intermediate areas of the field. Well, this is a play where he shows pinpoint accuracy. I mean, you cannot get more accurate than he does on this play. 1st and 23. 1st and 23 for the Titans used to be, that's it. The drive is over. Run it a couple times and call a screen and try to get out of there without turning the ball over. Well, not anymore. When Will Levis is your quarterback, converting 1st and 23 is as easy as he makes it look on this play. Making all these calls and checks at the line of scrimmage, we're going to talk about that a little bit later on in this video because he did it a lot in this Steelers game. He's showing real command of this offense, which is super impressive for a rookie making his second start, but also sort of expected because that's what he did at Kentucky. He ran a pro-style offense. He called the checks. He adjusted the protections. It wasn't about having a center or an offensive lineman do that for him. He's done that before. So it's really no surprise to me that he's able to do that now, even in only his second start. But anyway, back to this play. Levis buys time in the pocket, and look at that throw. I mean, it doesn't get more pinpoint than that. I love attacking a defender whose back is to the ball, especially a linebacker who's not as accustomed in coverage to making plays with his back to the ball. So attack a player who has poor leverage and put the ball in exactly the right spot on the run. Extension of the ball right over the linebacker's head. I mean, it doesn't get more perfect than this. And Hopkins is able to catch it on the run. Don't look at Cole Holcomb's knee here as his teammate comes in. I'm going to pause it before his leg breaks. Really feel for Cole Holcomb on this play. His leg basically snapped in half. But watch Levis in the pocket here. Takes the snap, and he's got pressure coming from his right side, but he stays calm. Subtle movements to the right. Help your protection. Stay positioned so that your linemen are between you and the pass rush, right? That helps your linemen out. This is a lot easier for Aaron Brewer to recover because of Will Levis's movement here. This is something Ryan Tannehill wasn't giving this offense. For everything Ryan Tannehill did for this franchise, he had a great run as a Titans starting quarterback, and he should go down as one of their best quarterbacks to play in a Titans uniform. Pocket presence was not his strong suit. And here, you have the rush coming from Levis's right side, but by Levis moving to his right here, he keeps Aaron Brewer between him and the defender, and that just makes, again, it just makes it so much easier on your linemen. So that subtle slide to his left, our right, allows him to have time to hit this play, and it definitely helps that the Steelers decided to drop TJ Watt into coverage and not rush him on this play, because TJ Watt was eating Nicholas Petit-Frere and whoever was at right tackle, eating them alive in this game. Next play we're going to look at happened just a few minutes later after a false start, 1st and 15 here for the Titans. And this is not, a super impressive play in terms of arm strength or fitting it into tight windows or anything like that. But it's another example of great job in the pocket by Will Levis here. So he's pretty quickly under pressure, but he knows where his outlet is. And yeah, he's got some guys breaking open down the field. Never has a chance to get them the ball because his left tackle here is abused right off the snap. Alex Highsmith just walks back Andre Diller, just simple bull rush, walks him straight back into Levis's lap. It doesn't matter. Rather than take a sack here, Levis knows where his outlet is, right here underneath, and he's got tons of space to make this throw. So it's not a dangerous throw at all. It's just a play to get the ball out of your hands while you're under pressure and get some positive yardage back in a play where you're already backed up 1st and 15. You pick up 11, 12 yards here. That makes your second down a whole lot easier. You can't take a sack in this situation. You're looking at 2nd and 20 plus. So Levis, great job here, despite being under pressure almost instantly, despite not having time for the further down the field routes to develop. The first read even can't develop on this play. He's under pressure almost immediately, but he's able to get this ball out and the arm angle to get it around Big 99 there, who has his hand up, outstretched. Get that ball around him as you're being hit and taken down. Get it to Kyle Phillips underneath and create something positive. Solving problems in the pocket. A problem is created when a player gets beat or somebody's not open or whatever it may be. Will Levis is solving problems, and that is something that has been beneficial to the Titans offense so far. you have a guy that can elevate the players around you. Your offensive linemen get beat on that play, but it's not a sack because you're able to get rid of the ball to your underneath option. So just a great play by Will Levis on that one. Okay, the next play we're going to look at here, this is 3rd and 13. Scoreboard said 3rd and 15, but this is 3rd and 13 here in the first half, and this is that really nice completion to Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. This is incredible in the pocket by Will Levis. And I mentioned before, the Titans get behind the sticks, and it's run, screen, punt, give up. With Will Levis at quarterback, it's convert. You convert the 3rd and 13. You're confident in his ability to make the right play already in just his second start. So watch how he navigates this pocket because he is under pressure almost immediately. Peter Skoronski is going to get beat here by 95. You're going to have this guy get through because of miscommunication. Brunskill thinking that Brewer's going to be there to pick up the guy. He's not there. Brewer's actually trying to help on this side, and then this guy just gets through. So you get two guys getting through to Will Levis. He's able to sidestep one guy and sort of has to come up to avoid him, but he comes up right into the other guy. In the middle of two guys sandwiched between those pressures, he's able to get this ball out to Nick Westbrook-Ikhine for the conversion. Really impressive play in the pocket. Let's just watch it play out here. Hit as he's thrown, no problem. Gets it right to him. Pretty accurate ball. Westbrook-Ikhine just, all he has to do is wait for it, catch it, and step out of bounds. One more time, a little bit slower so we can see what Levis has to do here. So big 95's coming at him. He sidesteps it to his right to get away from that pressure. Aaron Brewer is able to get a little bit of a hit on him to at least avoid the sack. But by doing so, he allows big 99 to come through. Again, there's Daniel Brunskill on the other side, trying to help out with TJ Watt coming around the far edge. Just lets 99 through, thinking that Aaron Brewer is going to be there, and he's not. So that's where the hit on the quarterback comes from. But Levis is able to just throw it in the face of all this pressure. Doesn't even need to set his feet or step into it, which, one school of thought is that your feet always need to be in sync with your arm. Another school of thought is, the baseball background that guys like Patrick Mahomes have, who are able to throw the ball. Aaron Rodgers, think the way Aaron Rodgers can throw from any platform. It is a huge plus to be able to throw from any platform and not need your feet to always be in sync with your eyes, because it allows you to make plays like this one where you're being hit in the lower body and being hit in the chest right after the ball is released and still able to deliver a ball with zip right to your target who's wide open, thankfully. But just a great play by Will Levis here, and that those different arm angles are going to come in handy throughout his career to help him avoid pressure and make throws like this. All right, we're going to look at another negative play since we've been looking at so many positive plays here. And this is not an example of Will Levis being too aggressive. It's actually an example of him taking the ball and tucking and running a little early. Now, there was a play he made in college that Justin Mello and I actually broke down with Kentucky's offensive coordinator, Liam Cohen. If you haven't seen that video, you should definitely check it out. But Levis actually had a pretty similar play to that in college where he was rolling out like this. His first option wasn't open, so he just tucked it and ran and was able to get in the end zone. But it's a little bit more difficult against NFL players than it is against college players to make a play like that. So where should he have gone with the ball? Well, let's see. His first read on this play appears to be one of these two tight ends. It's either a Okonkwo, who's very much covered, or I guess this is Wesco. It's not Wesco. Whoever this is here, Kevin Rader maybe, also not very open with three Steelers players sort of all bracketing him. He got coverage here. But where he should have gone with this ball is to DeAndre Hopkins, who has a step here. These guys are breaking downhill. No one's gaining depth back here. You throw this ball up and allow Hopkins to go up and get it. It doesn't matter what these underneath defenders are doing. They're not going to be in the passing lane. And Hopkins was, eventually going to be wide open on this play. But it looks like right here, Levis decided none of this underneath stuff is open. So I'm going to try to make my way through it and see if I can pick up any yards and maybe get in the end zone. Not the best play here. And something that Levis did a little too often in college was when the first read wasn't open and he felt pressure, was just tucking and running and not keeping his eyes downfield. It hasn't been a huge issue through 2 starts so far in the NFL, but it was an issue on this play. You'd love to see him just get his eyes upfield. Right here, he's already decided to run. You can tell by his body language. If he keeps his eyes up, he will see Hopkins breaking open. And you can see Hopkins is waving his arm around like, hey, I'm open, throw me the ball. But unfortunately, Levis doesn't see him on this play. Tries to take it himself. It's something they'll learn. There's no doubt they looked at this in the film study after the game, and they said, hey, look, man, you keep your eyes up. You have a touchdown on this play. Luckily, Derrick Henry was able to get it in the end zone on the next snap, and it didn't really matter. All right, moving on. We're in 2-minute drill here. Less than a minute to go in the first half. I want you to watch Kyle Phillips on this play, because this is a dart of a throw from Will Levis. It's a really nice route by Kyle Phillips, but I don't know if this is where he's supposed to be. Either him or DeAndre Hopkins ran the wrong route on this play. And I think what may be going on is that Phillips has a choice route. You can see him one-on-one in the middle of the field out of the slot. He can either go this way, or sort of bend this up the seam. He jukes this guy out of his shoes and bends it up the seam, and he's got a lot of space. Obviously, the defender over the top. Levis has to fit this ball over these linebackers in front of these safeties, and he does a really nice job. But DeAndre Hopkins ends up like right here. And like Phillips is here and Hopkins is here. There's no way that the play was designed for those two guys to be within a couple yards of each other. But regardless, it's a nice throw by Will Levis, fitting it in. Again, a layered throw. We didn't see a lot of this in the Falcons game. The Falcons game was those short throws or those deep, aggressive, deep shots. In this game against the Steelers, he showed that he can layer it into that intermediate level of the field with the same kind of accuracy and the same kind of aggressiveness, because this is a big play in this moment in the game. 2-minute drive. You got to get down the field quickly. And he hits Phillips. He actually hit Phillips on back-to-back plays. So let's look at the second one here. This time you got Phillips in the slot on the other side of the field. Going to run, faking like he's running the same sort of play and then breaking it outside. And Levis, again, just layers the ball right to him, right at the sideline. This is that pinpoint intermediate accuracy I talked about, how he is sometimes questionable. It's hit or miss. It's not the most consistent thing yet for Will Levis's game, but he's shown the ability to be able to do it. You can see Kyle Phillips getting open. Great route by Kyle Phillips. We got to appreciate this for a second. Kyle Phillips really shakes this man. Again, he's here. So watch that guy on your screen. Comes up, little inside stutter, break outside, swim over the defender's contact, and look how much space he's created. And he's got open field to run to, got great leverage, and he's already got 3 or 4 yards of separation. And Levis puts a perfect ball on him. 1, 2 feet in, and a 3rd foot down for good measure before he runs out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. All right, we're going to look at this play one more time from this angle just because, I want to point out Levis's pocket movement here. So he's dropping straight back, which is how you're designed to do. You don't want to drift in your drop, but then the pressure comes on this little stunt here. 54 looping inside. You can see him here as he's coming around inside. You can see 97 crashing around the outside. So with that stunt going on, the Steelers are able to create a little bit of pressure. But again, Levis allowing his lineman to stay between him and the defender. Subtle move back to create a little bit of space for himself to throw this ball. It's just a nice job. I mean, it's not a lot. Again, it's subtle. But it's those tiny movements in the pocket that allow you, buy you a little extra time. That little sidestep to his left, our right there. That one little step gives him the space to make this throw accurately, on time, with zip on the ball to the sideline. Bang, catch, out of bounds. All right, the next play was a shot to DeAndre Hopkins. It fell incomplete, so we're going to skip that and move on to 2nd and 10 here. This play sparked a lot of debate on Twitter. On this one, we're going to have Tyjae Spears sort of slip out here out of the backfield and find the open space, and then he's running to the end zone. He's pretty much wide open at the time of the release of this throw, but unfortunately, it does not get completed. Whose fault is it? Did Will Levis throw it too far inside? Did Tyjae Spears inexplicably turn into a cornerback backpedaling down the field? Both of these things can be true. So it's pretty much not debatable that Tyjae Spears' path is leading him outside and that Levis should have dropped this ball into this area. If he did that, Spears is already looking over his outside shoulder, probably makes that catch and walks into the end zone for a touchdown. Unfortunately, Levis's pass is more in this area, which causes Tyjae Spears to have to adjust his route. Now, if this is an elite receiver, he's probably able to have the body control to make that adjustment, go to his opposite shoulder, and make a high point catch here that's going to be contested because of where the ball ends up being placed. Levis probably wanted this one back. Spears probably wanted another shot to try to make this catch. I think it's just on both guys. Spears needs to make a better adjustment on the ball, but Levis needs to give him a better ball. Needs to throw it a little more outside. Ball just drifts inside on him. And Mike Vrabel basically said because of this pass, that's why they ran it on the next 3rd down play and ended up kicking the field goal before halftime as opposed to, just a little too far. as opposed to trying, a pass on third down, try to get in the end zone here before halftime. You get at least one more shot to the end zone. Instead, they sort of ran a give-up run play. But again, Levis's pocket movement on display here. His drop is straight back, which you love to see. You don't want to see him drifting in his drop. But then here, he starts to sense that pressure coming from his left, our right side of the screen, finds space in the pocket, and maybe it was the little drifting, jumping throw that caused this pass to be off target. But you still like to see the pocket movement and, again, the aggressiveness to attack downfield and try to get it to a receiver open downfield, or a running back in this case. All right, moving forward to the third quarter here. Now, this is a simple play. It doesn't go for a very big gain, but I'm pointing it out because Will Levis is pre-snap recognition and his command of the offense, I mentioned before, in full display on this particular play. He reads the blitz before it comes, adjusts the protection, knows his hot, and gets it out to his guy. Unfortunately, Treylon Burks can't break the tackle here. If Burks breaks this tackle, this play could potentially go for a touchdown, but Levis identifies the blitz is coming, slides his protection to the left, away from the blitz, which is a point of contention on Twitter that I've had discussions with people. But the point is, he recognizes it, he shifts the protection, he throws the hot. It's just great command of the offense. Now, he slides the protection to the left. Why does he do that if he knows the blitz is coming from the right? Because he knows that right here, you got two receivers and you only got one defender, which means that this defender is covering probably Hopkins. This guy initially lined up out here, presumably to cover the other receiver. He's not there anymore. So that means that this defender has to cover this receiver. This guy's 12 yards off the line of scrimmage. You want this defender to come through. You want to let that guy through and throw it over his head to the guy that he would have been covering if he wasn't blitzing. And you slide the protection to your left because you're going to be staring this blitz down. You're going to be looking to the right at this hot receiver. You don't want somebody coming free from the left. You don't want somebody to get beat on the left side quickly and come around and strip you from behind from your blind side while you're staring down the blitz and staring at your receiver on the other side of the field. So that's why you don't shift the protection at the blitz. You're not trying to pick up this blitz. You're trying to attack it. So some people who say he shifted the protection the wrong way, I disagree. You slide the protection to your left. You make sure you don't get hit from the blind side. You throw it at the blitz. You attack the blitz. This defender is essentially not in this play, because he's coming through a free gap, sure, but you know you're going to throw it over his head, and you know you're going to have an open receiver to throw to. So you're allowing this guy to take himself out of the play by not picking him up. You pick him up with a blocker, you're taking away somebody that could protect your blind side. So anyway, that is why I say Levis shifts this protection correctly and attacks the blitz. And as I mentioned, this defender has a lot of ground to cover this receiver. I do think this ball may be a tad late. This ball should be out by now, and it's not yet. I think maybe Levis was waiting to see which of these two receivers the closer defender would pick up before he threw the ball. I think if he throws this a tiny bit sooner, Burks has a better chance to make a play up the field, but you still love to see the pre-snap recognition. And right here, again, if Burks is able to shake this tackle, he's got so much green space to run to. This guy's coming in, but you got Hopkins as a potential blocker on him. So you shake this guy, and then you beat this guy to up the field corner. This could have been a touchdown if Burks is able to shake one tackle. You hate to see him get taken down so easily, but it is what it is. A good play by Will Levis, recognizing the blitz. There he is pointing out a Mike defender, and then he's like, wait a second. I see this 34 creeping. It's like, all right, slide left, protection slides left. We're going to attack this blitzer. I'm going to throw it right over his head. Bang. And he does throw it as soon as he hits the top of his drop. It's just how it goes sometimes. So a nice play overall. Great pre-snap recognition, especially from your rookie quarterback in his second start. Okay, the last play we're going to look at is the interception. And I'm not trying to absolve Will Levis of blame here, but I kind of am. Because given the context of where you're at here, you got 11 seconds left and it's third down. So you either and no timeouts. So you either convert this first down and the game basically ends. I mean, you maybe can get to the line of scrimmage and spike the ball, but most likely you're going to run out of time if you try that. The cutoff is usually around 15 to 17 seconds. So you either throw this ball to the sideline and get out of bounds quickly and give yourself a shorter chance at converting a touchdown, but it's 3rd and 5, so you don't want to end up in, I guess time is more of a factor than the down and distance here in this situation, but the defense is playing cover 3. One back here, one back here, one back here. The linebackers are dropping. They're not worried about anything underneath because the Titans have no timeouts. If you catch the ball in anywhere in the field of play, basically, the game is over. So you got 3 guys back. You got 2 guys in the dropping as well, reading Levis's eyes, specifically looking at Levis's eyes. And then you have 2 more defenders sticking to the outside receivers. And a lot of people are going to say that this ball should have gone to Nick Westbrook-Ikhine right here. Well, to those people, I say, if Levis makes the throw to Westbrook-Ikhine, you have the exact same result. Because the reason that this ball to Chris Moore, I believe, was intercepted is because the defenders are breaking on where the ball is going. If the ball goes the other way, the defenders are breaking the other way. He only looks open because of where Levis throws this ball and where his eyes are. But actually, Will Levis does a great job on this play of trying to look off that safety, that center field safety. But it's the linebacker underneath who makes the play. You got a linebacker on the other side who would make the same play, and the only reason he's not making it is because Levis is throwing the other direction. You got that safety over the top who's coming over to help. He would be running, look, that safety's breaking this direction because the ball's already out. He would be breaking this direction if the ball went the other way. There's really nowhere to go with this ball. You got to either try to fit it in to a sideline shot and see if your guy can make an unbelievable catch at the sideline, or you throw the ball and try to hope that somebody makes a play in here and you can get it over the defense. It's really a almost impossible situation to be in as a quarterback. And the result is the game-ending interception. Josh Wiley's who he was targeting. Sorry, I said somebody else. But point stands. It doesn't matter who he targeted on this play. In the middle of the field, it's going to be broken up because of the way the defense is. But if we watch it from this angle, we can see Levis actually trying to move those safety and linebackers with his eyes. He initially looks this direction, and then he snaps back and quickly, as soon as he is ready to throw the ball, he snaps back and throws. He doesn't even have time really to read the linebacker. He may have been trying to do a little too much with his eyes because he didn't move this guy, and he's still throwing it into triple coverage. So game-ending interception, but you understand why he had to attack the end zone there. If he throws it out of the field of play because you don't have the look you wanted, maybe you get one more shot at it, with like 4 seconds left and 4th down. But I mean, what is he supposed to do? Then you're in the exact same situation with probably the exact same routes against probably the exact same coverage. So really, it's sort of a lose-lose situation here given how much time was left and the fact that they had no timeouts. All right, that does it for the Will Levis breakdown. Overall, there is so much to like about this kid's game, particularly the aggressiveness with which he attacks down the field, the arm strength, the arm angles he's able to throw out of, and any position. Basically, it doesn't matter if he's under pressure, being tackled, or what. He can get the ball out and find his guy. His ability to move in the pocket is really impressive, especially considering coming out of Kentucky, his pocket presence was one of the biggest knocks on him. He took way too many sacks at Kentucky, didn't really feel the rush very well, and he's taken a few sacks since he started in Tennessee the last couple weeks. But overall, I'm really impressed with the pocket presence and the control, the command of the offense at the line of scrimmage, calling out the protections, making changes. He's not relying on his center or an offensive guard or an offensive lineman to make those calls for him. He's doing it himself in just his 2nd career start. I can't wait to see how he plays the rest of this season. I'm so excited for the Will Levis era in Tennessee, which is officially here. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, give it a thumbs up, and hit that little bell to turn on channel notifications so you get an alert every time we drop a new video. Thanks, everyone.